whatever milestones that Black people make against hate, it ends up benefiting all the other people of color. I can't see what his end game is. The Republican Party is the party of racism, is the party of white supremacy, is the party of hate. This is wrong, and it needs to stop.
Everybody wants to go back and drag that piece of history up, but they don't want to go back and deal with what their ancestors did to the indigenous people and to Black people in this country. You got to go. And you got billionaires talking about going to space and Jeff Bezos. Go! Never come back. I hope you get lost. This man has lost his mind.
Boom! Come on, girlfriend. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show for dads and fathers that's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care, and being part of that team 2022 and 2021 reached out directly and indirectly to over 100,000 fathers around the world. As always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. We're broadcasting live on March 4th. Where's the time gone? Like, it's March already. Here in Toronto, we've had 2 or 3 snowstorms in the last 2 weeks. Yesterday, we got hit with must have been about 10 inches of snow. Like, I was out there 7 o'clock this morning. And that's when my back's sore. Ouch! My back's sore. But you know what? I'm feeling good. I'm going to be healed in the next few minutes by Aisha, Jill, and LaLa. Well, Jill is here. LaLa is here. We lost Aisha at the beginning. Hopefully, we're going to get her back. But I was all excited about having everyone back. And Aisha's trying to get back. But Jill... LaLa, what's going on?
I don't know. I can't complain.
Right, can't complain. I try to balance. You know what? I made a decision for myself. My life has changed quite a bit, and I'm happy with the path that it's going. But every day, I actually try to look for at least 2 pieces of good news. And I'm incorporating that and stepping back from a lot of the social media because it truly is fed to us on how we're looking. So it's given some happiness to my day, stepping back from social media a little bit.
Good.
Yes. Excellent. Excellent. Aisha's back.
Nice.
No,
but she's frozen again.
Aisha's not back. Aisha is frozen. So you know what? I'm going to take her off screen.
Right.
And see what she's going on with. Jill Jones, what's going on with you?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess I've been going through my own little metamorphoses, watching less and less mainstream media. And now just not even going to bother commenting on things anymore. I'll share a little bit for my friends, but really focus my intentions and everything on this show. I'm just kind of like, I have to realize that mainstream media, they have to keep up a story every day. And that's a lot in this world. I mean, obviously
they're got to make their money, right? You would come from the advertising world, so you know better than any of us here, right?
Yeah, but I also think that advertising is the devil. I think that advertising is going as part and parcel responsible for why the democracy is failing.
Jill, do you find that, like, more so now, though, they just pound it into you over and over? They don't even know the facts. They just continue to just pound it and pound it and pound it. And then they'll go back and say they're sorry when they find something.
Because saying sorry and a retraction never translates in the messaging. Nobody ever hears it. And so they're stuck with the original lie, which is what they want. That's the original intention. It's like, okay, so smack my hand and oops, I'm sorry. Oh, you still believe that Trump won the election, even though we proved it time and time again. I do believe that, you know, I don't know if I don't know. I think that we're in a really dire situation, and it's grim.
I just want to
because
interrupt.
I feel like people are manifesting their own Armageddon. I feel like people are trying to bring about an Armageddon that is artificial, an artificial Armageddon that they are orchestrating in order to control people in in America primarily, because the rest of the world didn't have the whole, crazy Christian thing here. The guilt really worked.
I just want to interrupt. Aisha, can you hear us? No, I don't think she's on. She's having some connectivity challenges. Well, I thought about all three this week, and we haven't started our conversation yet. But one of Jill's an old-time faves, Rupert Murdoch, basically admitting in that trial that they knew that the election was a legit thing, but they just kept on putting out fake news during the election results. And I said, wow. Wow.
He should not be. They gave him citizenship here, and they should revoke it, because I really feel that he works against the United States. He's adversarial. His entertainment it's not, we know it's entertainment, but is it? Because if you're going to go for people who are doing drag and comedians and all of that, let's go for your piece of show. It's a joke. It's such a joke. They should have a laugh track next to everything that they say every day. But, he should not be allowed to be an American citizen. But it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't know what blood he's sucking to stay 150 years old. Who the knows? But these people, it's like their time to go away forever. It's ridiculous, and Fox News, people are like, oh, but because there are dumb people who follow Fox News. There are a lot of stupid people in this country. Honest to Jesus, it's crazy. They're dumb as. I mean, I never knew the stupidity was so rampant in this country. And we overestimated a lot of the intelligence. We were wrong. These people are just a step away from eating dirt.
I don't even think they're a step away, Jill. I mean, they're there.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what we have.
Say about the South anyway?
No.
Isn't that what they say about the South anyway? Dirt?
Yeah, I ain't trying to ever be living in the South. I'm sorry, y'all. No. My family did everything they could to get north, and I respect that, and I listen, and I understand, but I am not even trying to be anywhere, and that includes Florida. Y'all can keep that hillbilly state. I'm not interested. There's only one town in there that makes sense, and the rest of it, and that's where rich people go because of their taxes and all that other stuff. And the little corporation laws.
No, they're still paying into it.
And it's become too little Russia for me, to be honest.
Go down to Florida and spend any kind of money at all. If anybody trans, sexual, black, Hispanic, why are you spending money down there? I'm sorry, Disney. I know you're a world attraction, but guess what? You're still putting money into the system. You shouldn't support things that go against your principles. Period.
Sure. I know, and I think it's like little Coney Island down there, little like Moscow. I ain't feeling that anymore. And you got to draw some hard lines in the sand. We are going to talk about Walgreens, so I drew my hard line. It's just the way it is at this point. But that's the other thing. Americans don't know how to boycott. The only people who knew how to do it were Black people during the bus strike and during civil rights. White people don't have the fortitude to give up. They don't. They've never known what that's like. They can only moan and whinge about what they can't get during the supply chain. And oh my God, my shampoo or whatever they go on about. It's absolutely asinine. And we'll smile like they're doing something for the process and be out there shopping in the very place that they said they are. A bunch of posers. It's ridiculous. American people and their consumerism.
I didn't see that.
Americans can't spend a day not shopping. I'm going to tell you, they'd eat their feet off if they couldn't go shopping.
Aisha, are you with us?
Yes, I am. I had to switch to my phone because Wi-Fi is a bit shaky out here.
Okay, so hopefully you'll be with us for the rest. Regina says, Jill is right. The apology does not mitigate the deliberate planting of evil seed. I guess she is speaking about Rupert Murdoch.
Yes, yes. You know, it's kind of like I was watching that show Succession on HBO, which is supposedly about the Murdoch family loosely. And I mean, this year is supposed to be their last season. Can we just hope that this is Rupert's last season, y'all? Can we just put it all to bed? Because, you know, it's like the poison, the vile pollution that old does every day. He's like, you know, allowed to like be the CEO or whatever. All of them. Buffett too. It's like people.
DuckTales characters that had all the money, who goes back and lays down in the money and starts playing with, what's that duck? Donald Duck's uncle, Rich Uncle.
Oh, Scrooge, the one that Uncle Scrooge.
Yes. And you know what's so interesting? Those cartoonists in those days used to take the shot at these people. I mean, we're looking at Berkshire
Hathaway.
Yeah, I was reading about Salton Sea, which is an area out here that, you know, is totally like, it was a sort of a beautiful area at one point where the rivers met from the Colorado River and all this stuff. Now you go out there, it smells like poison. Like it's near Death Valley. It is like, it's a gas going out there. If the EPA has to do a phase 1 and a phase 2, forget about it. It's dangerous. And guess who was involved in the destruction of it? Yep.
They're still going to build that. Look at the Potter's area.
Yep. And these people, these investors,
they're building on death out there.
And you know, the other day I was talking to somebody about who was the guy who had the Ponzi scheme?
Murdoch.
Walter
Murdoch.
No.
No.
Not Maddow. What was his name? The Ponzi scheme. He died.
I'll find it. I'll find it.
Madoff. What he did at this point, they were just, look how they do. They went after him because he fucked them over. But if they had been told on the side, this is a Ponzi scheme and I'm going to make sure you get it, each single billionaire would have been sitting up there gladly taking their money. And I'm not so sure that most of them didn't really know that this was a Ponzi scheme. Because now I look back and go, I really wish he'd have broke their backs. I wish we'd have seen more little silver spoon darlings getting right up the, because the reality is they're awful human beings. They're awful. The rich are awful.
And they pass it down,
and they don't lose enough money. They want to about, you know, my billion, this billion. It's become so gauche and so disgusting what's going on in this country. I don't think it's on our topic list, so I'll bring it up quickly about what's going on in Tennessee, and that wanted to try to senator want us to bring back lynching, and then what they're doing with the drag performers and the trans
we're getting to it. We're getting
to it. Oh, we do have it? Yeah. I'm so beside myself. And we will talk about that because it's time. It's time for us to, I ain't shopping, y'all. I ain't putting money in any hands anymore. No, you will beg me to buy your products.
Okay, let's get started.
I'm being very discerning these days.
What, we haven't started?
No, well, let's start on the topic. Sorry, let me correct myself. All right, let's talk about our first conversation piece. Mississippi House of Representatives pass a Jim Crow law. Oh,
okay, let me tell y'all. All right. You know that most people anyway don't go and vote in these in-between elections. So what they're doing is they're testing the waters to see what they can get away with, because where are we going to start? With the judges, because who knows really who to vote for? Well, you know, let's just put our own people in since nobody really votes, okay? this is where they're going to start. And once they have established this as a precedent, they are going up the chain. This law is disgusting. And this is what's happening in the South. Y'all better be paying attention. You better be paying attention. Because when one state does something,
they
the
all
other
do it.
state next to it goes, oh, we can one up them. What can we get away with? And before you know it, you will have no voice at all. So they're starting at the lower level and they're going to take it up the chain. Don't get it twisted.
Well, here's the problem with Mississippi, right? Mississippi has not changed. People got better at hiding things, hiding their racism, hiding their bigotry, but it never changed. And you can safely say that really about the whole South. The whole thing about the New South was really because Atlanta was thriving, not the rest of them. You know, I went to Mississippi for an Emmett Till conference, 50th anniversary in 2005, and we were standing outside the courthouse that we were going to tour. Don't you know, somebody came around in a truck firing off guns because they're just that insane there. And this isn't even just changing the judges. They're creating a separate district to live inside of Jackson, which is 83% Black. It will have no elected officials, but the judges for the entire city of Jackson will come from that district, which is designed to be an all-white district.
Exactly. And everyone down there protects themselves. And the Blacks that are in position right now, they are safely lulled into thinking that they are immune to what's going on. As long as they got somebody by them saying, oh, we'll take care of you, Sambo, they'll be just fine because they think they're safe. They're not safe. And I'm going to tell you right now, they don't care about our people and the people of our own skin color. All skin folk ain't kin folk, so you better know that right now. They're going to promise them something and then snatch it right back under them. And they're going to be like, what happened? Because that's what they do every time. This is a corrupt city, but it's a city enough where there's so many poor that they're too busy paying attention to even trying to eat down there.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm talking about I'm telling you, because I've just been there. Okay. Backs of houses are missing.
Yeah.
Okay. And people are still living in it. Ask me how I know. I just came from there. So what do you think these people are thinking about? They ain't thinking about these people up here trying to do votes and stuff. They're thinking about trying to put some food in their families' mouths. So this is what they do. They start with the people who can't pay attention because they're too busy living. And this is what they do.
And they chose Jackson on purpose, right? Because everybody in Jackson is concerned about the water. They're facing a water crisis.
Yeah.
So they're concerned about that.
The water. So you really think they're gonna fix Jackson? No.
It's not to explain. No. And you know what? If the water doesn't kill folks, this policy will.
That's planned. Everything is planned. Do you see what they're doing? They're seeing exactly what they can do to get rid of us or keep us silent.
Well, that's what they're going to do because, like we know, like I said, these are when people hear the references of Hitler, they get like, oh, okay. Well, the reality is we're already in the mix. Remember, it took 10 years for him to get back into power. And through that time, he wasn't sitting at home watching TV or twiddling his thumbs. He was working and maneuvering. And remember, I've heard all these people like go, gee, it's so wild to try to figure out how this happened. How did all the other German people allow it? The same way Americans are allowing it. Because once you remove people that are a threat to you, for whatever reason, if you fear them for crime or you fear them for your jobs or their intelligence, you start to feel like the big dog on the block. And you become complicit with what's happening when your neighbors go missing or your drag queen friends who, that's how they make their living can no longer do that. Don't forget, if anybody has never seen the play Cabaret, that's what that was about when the Nazis came and took all the gay people. So it's like, and in Mississippi, what we're seeing is this is not a dress rehearsal. because
No.
they're going full steam ahead with their plan by hook or crook. And the saddest part is that, you know, I don't know, all the southern states are abhorrent. They're reprehensible. What was the guy I just told you guys who was in, he couldn't put up his bail in Arkansas, a schizophrenic man, and they found him dead in solitary confinement at 90 pounds because he couldn't pay $100 for his bail. And they forgot him in solitary confinement and he starved to death. There are many, many stories of what's going on in this country right now. And we are at red alert. This is not, you know,
I think
there are some interesting things happening with AI and all of it. And like LaLa said, there's a kind of a plan happening here, and it's working together because it's so wicked and evil. And as far as I'm concerned, people aren't woke enough, in my opinion.
And I literally saw a Confederate flag and a Nazi flag flying together just last weekend.
Yeah, I don't understand why that's not considered, why we can't deal with hate, speak and hate behavior. Why does America have its in its ear and not understand it can't make a difference? And I mean, but then this is the country that allows people to go hunting and kill their kids in school. This is the country of people, the majority of white people and black people, or however, have just decided it's okay with their guns. Because really, as I just saw today, the two corporations that own America are the NRA and Big Tobacco and the pharmaceuticals. They own this country, and we are here. We are sitting ducks, and this is the prison. The big prison is the country America. We are in perpetuity. There's no freedom here. And now the chickens in the hen house are just picking each other off.
Yes.
You know, just picking each other off. And now the KKK, oh, you want to be the big dog in the field? Okay, fine. But we're here. And the rich people who control this, they don't even live here anymore. Their money isn't even here. It isn't even here.
Nope. I can tell you right now, some of the real estate companies are coming to some of the American real estate companies now. I won't say any name. Well, yes, I will. Berkshire Hathaway.
This country is a fucking...
talking about, well, you know, we need your help because we're expanding to Europe. Okay, they're coming to the American agents and telling us that this is what they're doing.
Right.
And they're giving them the hope of, if you help us sell over here, we'll help you over there. This is happening. Yes. This plan was put into place many, many decades ago.
Right.
It's coming to fruition.
Yep.
Okay. Aisha, please.
Well, you know, the thing about Mississippi, and going back to that for a second, all of the southern states have this intrinsic legacy of hate that they passed down for generations. And people always ask, why is Mississippi the worst of them? Mississippi is the worst of them because during slavery, the black population outnumbered the white population, the slave owners. Like, I think it's like between like 3-1, 5-1, something like that, but a very high number. And what they learned was that in Haiti, when it was Toussaint Louverture and Haiti, they led the slave revolt because Haiti had the same situation with more slaves than they had free white people. And so when that revolt happened and it was successful and the Haitians were able to take over their country, people in Mississippi were fearful of that because they had the same situation with the population. And so they had the most strict policies and ways of doing things. So when people were saying, anytime someone says the phrase, "Don't sell me down the river," that comes from that era. Because no slaves wanted to go to Mississippi because the stories among them was that it was so bad for black people there that they would rather be in every state.
It's bad in every state because
had a very unique situation though.
But the federal government is allowing the states to do what they want to do. Isn't that so? It's like our federal government has no power over any of the states. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. They don't. They do not. It is two separate things. There's a shadow government happening in America. And that's exactly what it is. It's shadow government, because the one that Joe Biden's running, it actually, okay, it's running, but there's another arm that's happening, and people are really seeing this downgrade, and it's going to get nasty, guys, because there's no other way to say it. We're hitting the skids. It's in the real the country's in the there's no, people are lost. You go out, you talk to people, they're like dead eyes, dead.
But that's why they wanted to vote to gut the Voting Rights Act, because they were able to change all the laws without having them be overlooked by.
No, nobody voted for it. We had Kirsten Sinema and old pig face mansion that, to be honest with you, somebody should have visited him and had a big chat.
But they repealed it before she was even in office.
It doesn't matter, Aisha. They've done nothing for us. This has been in the works for a long time.
They haven't done anything for us, but for the South, for these laws, that they're enabled to do that because whenever they change laws that affect their voting rights in those states, they used to have to get the oversight of the federal government because of the historic racism and the historic patterns of denying people the right to vote. And so when they didn't get the whole thing, they took out that part that gave the federal government oversight over those states that had traditionally prevented Black people from getting
rigged. It's like even the concept of the American dream is a joke. You tell people your dream should be to buy a house, and you do this. So you buy a house, you pay it off, you're 85 years old, and your property taxes are something you can't afford.
And let me tell you,
what the
feed into that very easily. This American dream, there is no American dream.
It's American nightmare.
About, people trying to live up to the Joneses, and the Joneses don't even have a thing. No. What they're trying to do is perpetrate and show that they have something. They own nothing. Now, I can tell you right now, I keep telling people, thank God I'm gone from Jurassic Park. I don't need to, right. Don't go down there. Let me tell you, everybody's talking about, well, they don't have a state tax.
They say it in Texas too.
Tax, the insurance tax,
and that's why their education is so bad.
And that's why their education is so bad. That's how they get you with that whole thing. It's so interesting. And then the irony is that you get money back from your federal taxes. And it tricks you into thinking that you didn't really overpay just to live in those godforsaken. Texas is the and to be honest with you, most of the people who live in Texas are completely clueless and scary. I'll be honest, I ain't trying to be in Texas. I went down there when my daughter was there, but it is not the place. No. And Florida. I've said it again.
I didn't want to drive through Texas. I was like, Lord Jesus, please don't let me get stopped.
No. The fact that they voted that back in. Done. Done.
Well, you know what? If you want to live in a state
what's his name? Abbott. I just don't give a shit.
You know what? If you want to live in a state without taxes, go to Delaware.
Yeah, but Delaware is a considerably different place, and the people are considerably different. You know.
Yeah. But don't
and I ain't trying to see any. And now down there, you have a bunch of bonehead Twitter and Silicon people who are just greedy. And they have nothing really redeemable about their character either. They're young and dumb and greedy and, not really interesting. I don't know, the Google people, the whatever. And they're all about to get laid off when AI takes all their jobs. So, they better be saving up their money.
Aisha?
Mm-hmm. No, I was just agreeing. I just think that the excuse that I'm going to this place because of the low taxes is bull. People are going where people think like them.
Right. Hey, can somebody tell me that Andrew Ding Dong Wang isn't going to be running again this time? Because, he's another, wasn't he like a train wreck? I thought he was cool, but,
No, he needs to sit his ass down.
Speaking of Jurassic, let's talk about Jurassic. So Florida.
Let me tell you something.
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
Horrific.
These people are whacked. Do you hear me? you got what happened to freedom of speech?
What happened to freedom of speech? Exactly.
What happened to freedom of speech?
Yeah.
You no longer. No. Okay. Here's my problem. They want you to register if you say anything about Ron DeSantis.
Why? So he can come and scoop you up and send you to a gas chamber and kill you later.
What happens to all generations who back these damn candidates and politicians and governors? Why don't you make them put on their sleeve who's paying them to be in office and keeping them in office? You can kiss my about that. I am going to tell you about Ron DeSantis and his crooked self-hating self, because he hates himself. He freaking hates himself. The man is Hispanic. Okay?
Isn't he Italian? What is he?
I don't care what he is. He's Hispanic. He got some Hispanic in there he's trying not to say.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So no. What's good for the goose is not for the gander. You need to keep your mouth shut and somebody better fight. But the problem is,
he's a weirdo. He got married at Disneyland.
The people are too stupid down there, and they're gonna let this pass. I'm sorry. If you want me to tell you why I'm telling you you're an, then I need to know who's paying you to be in office. Put it on your sleeve. I want to see.
And Aisha, wasn't he up in your area? Wasn't he up in your area, or is headed towards your area to see the police and NYPD and Connecticut and do the whole New Jersey, that whole
Girl. As long as he doesn't come to Connecticut, I'm cool.
Like I said, you have the deranged white people who sit on the fence, who ain't got, who really are low-level human beings, and they just think, wow, if he gets rid of all the black people and stuff, ooh, and I can finally make it in this world. That's what we're up against. Losers who finally get their comeuppance, and they'll is sour, stinky forever to do it. I've seen so many white male American men that I think are so disgusting because they break at the what they do. They're not even, it's not even attractive to see somebody's man falling all over these. It's a little disturbing. From Russell Brand to that other bonehead who was never a good comedian, who was the big-headed guy. They're all like that. They just have, the American male is a reject. Sorry, got to say it. Slim pickings out there for most people. Poor girls. I feel so sorry for what women have to pick from. It's sad. If they're thinking that that's anything, these guys are like macho, they are like people, my European friends laugh at them. These are like they're not the sensitive guys, no.
Well, you know why he'll get away with it?
Sorry.
The reason he's doing it now, it's not because he just came up with it. The reason he's doing it now is because after last summer, and we saw what the Supreme Court did, he knows that he can step on the line where freedom of speech is, and that the Supreme Court will not slap his hand away. Because somebody will sue him for that, because they will say freedom of speech. But the Supreme Court they are so political right now,
but they're so slow. The lawsuits are just
corrupt.
And they're so slow. So by the time it goes back to what we started off with in this whole segment, which is, I'm going to say and do whatever I want to you, and let you spend the rest of your life trying to prove me wrong in the court of law.
Well, that's the girl say, "Catch me outside." That's exactly like.
And they learned that from Donald Trump. I mean, the only good thing that happened recently with him is that Jack Smith kind of like put a kibosh on some of that, like playing the game around and around. You say, well, I'll have to take him to the court and sue. You're not going to get the case seen for like a freaking year. It's like, and by that time, nobody's remembered it. They don't even know who the players are anymore.
No, because the ball of confusion continually rolls.
Exactly.
You're not going to remember by the time things come back around. You've been so inundated with everything from all sides: food, eating, politics, hate crime, people hanging people do. You're not going to remember.
But the justice system the justice system needs an overhaul with the technology that's available to them. They don't even use it. They don't allow people to record all of people should be allowed to record their own session in court. You know why? Because a lot of times the judges go back and say, oh, that's not in, scrape that, scrap that. That's wrong. Because when you need to appeal something, everything there needs to be in the transcript. I don't give a shit if somebody said, I've got a in my nose. And the judge said, it needs to be in the transcript. And this is why cases are not being solved in America. I am working on a case at the moment where all I'm seeing is 2 lying judges, or the judges that are wrong for the cases. They put like a bankruptcy judge in the middle of a estate probate. It's like, are you kidding me? These appointments and the people, a family judge on the wrong, they have no experience, can't read an operating agreement. I mean, come on. Okay, this is why it's failing.
Okay.
One last thing though. You know why Ron DeSantis is he's a bit more dangerous than Donald Trump?
Because of those boots he likes to wear?
Well, no. One, because he's smarter, but 2, because he actually had a long list of legislation to run on. When Donald Trump ran, he only ran with empty promises. People can see what Ron DeSantis did and the laws that he's applied in his country, and they will like it because they'll want it for the rest of this country, for the rest of us.
Let me tell you something. His wife is the wheel pushing this. You hear me? She's the one who's pushing this. She's dangerous. Whereas Trump, Melania, little miss, I done seen her, your whole body, first lady. She wasn't involved. She don't care. Just like she told y'all she didn't care. She didn't care then. She don't care now. But DeSantis's wife, she cares.
You can see it when she's on stage next to him. You just see that thing in her eyes. Hillary Clinton actually had that same thing in her eyes when she was standing there quietly next to Bill Clinton in 1992 when he was running. But you could see in her eyes that she wanted that presidency, if not for him, for herself. This woman, she wants it because she wants to be first lady. She wants to be the new Jackie L, and that's the truth.
All right, let's just catch up on some comments. Black Beauty saying, wouldn't there need to be a law passed for DeSantis to be able to enforce that? She also says, be mindful. So often Republicans exaggerate and lie, and unfortunately, too many Americans believe them. She also says, excuse me, unfortunately, the media, for the most part, are no longer educating Americans. So therefore, people will fall prey to lies, exaggerations. Dr. Santos can't pass laws on his own. And then Regina says, unfortunately, our society seems to be spiritually starved, and the resulting blindness and corruption reminds me of the beginning of the Yeats poem. Turning in the wild and guy, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the center can't hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world.
Right. Because we are in the place now where we are supposed to be rebuilding and establishing a new way, because we kind of transitioned out of sort of the karmic circle of this is wrong and this is, and your IRS is, and this is, and your FBI and your all of that, right? But now it's at the point of like, okay, we pointed out all the agencies that have been dismantled by Donald Trump, and now we have to put them together. And this very key, but in the ushering, what's happening is in this window of time, I think we're all clear that we see the usherance of authoritarianism right at the door. It's standing right there. And that's a little bit more disturbing because there aren't enough people able to fight back, because Donald Trump crippled all of our agencies. And a lot of the people in those agencies now are just going to side with whoever they think the winners are going to be. And that's why it is especially dangerous.
Well, to answer Black Beauty's question, how's he going to do it? How's he going to do it? The thing is that in certain states, governors can sign executive orders.
Yep.
That's how they'll do it.
And I mean, we also have to look at, it's what's really more disturbing too, is that we're witnessing such a huge transition. It's not even making sense what's going on. Like with even Merrick Garland not doing his prosecutorial obligations. I mean, we have some of the best pundits who are like professors of law, and from, you know, and even they're baffled. So it's very disturbing to see where the origin of this corruption, how deep it's really going. And it's kind of like, you know what it is? We know that there was a swamp, and I feel like we just pulled all the hair out of the shower drain, and you're trying to take it apart to see how do we loose this up? And you may never be able to. This is something that will go on forever, but we are going backwards.
Started from the beginning. This country was never built on any kind of good principle. I don't care how many times you tell me that our founding fathers wanted to get away and start a new life. Bullshit. They didn't want to deal with what they was dealing with overseas. So they said, let's go make a new nation. As long as
and let's do the same thing that they did to us.
Yes,
I mean, it's true. I mean, let's be honest, how they try to change the narrative, calling Sally Hemings a mistress when basically she was Jefferson's slave. And let's be honest, maybe she didn't want that big old greasy on top of her every night.
Right.
You know, she was 14 years old.
Want to make love stories out of every damn thing. Pocahontas.
There's no love story when you're, you know, when the oppressor doesn't allow you to have a choice. That's not love.
No.
That's
and
no.
And these are also the same people who will swear, you know, I have Native American ancestry. My great-great-great-grandmother was a Cherokee princess. First of all, the Cherokee don't have princes and princesses. And the Cherokee weren't the only Native American population in the United States.
Right. But that's what they know, so that's what they latch on to.
And the truth is,
it's a myth that they've given themselves to not feel bad about the stuff that their ancestors have done.
And it's also a myth for people to think that they're all down with being Cherokee or being even Native American, because first of all, they don't tend to contribute to the ancestry.com and all that kind of stuff. Secondly, they had Black people for slaves too. So we had to fight to make sure a few years ago that they were even able to be included in some of the benefits that come, so they could identify as people who were, you know, ancestors of the natives who had been, you know, were half mixed and whatever. So let's not front that that Black people were treated so much better with all the natives either. I think that, you know, we have stories even in our own real-time lives that you go down by the bayou in Louisiana and you see how Black and white can intermix, and they're in certain pockets. There are pockets of people in all times of history that have always gotten along. And then there's politics. Then there's that. So it's like the truth is understanding the stories. But the fact that they allowed that to sit up there the other day and talk about bringing back hanging and lynchings, I don't know why somebody didn't jump across the table and kicks out of him. It's like, who the is this piece of shit say this? Like, in this day and age, then you have a newspaper person going, why you don't seem like that was a really nice thing. Why would you as a reporter get some backbones and go, listen, let's step outside. Like, what the is wrong with you?
No, instead they let things slide, and then it gets to the next exit.
And then they talk to them properly. I'd be like spitting on that piece of shit.
Aisha, bless you. Go ahead.
The last point I want to make on this is that you know, when it comes to how they go about creating the laws, no one's ever honest. Let's be clear. They will tell you in 2 sentences what a 400-page bill says. Go read the bill. It might take you forever, but go back and read it. You can decipher through all of the legislative language, and if you have questions, come watch the State of Things on Saturday and ask them. But people aren't reading things, so people they're getting told misinformation.
Yeah. And
then when they vote for the thing. But like I said earlier today on Twitter, I think that we have to reevaluate the First Amendment, particularly when it comes to people in any level of government, state government, federal government, because we have seen what happens when they use their freedom of speech to spread lies. We saw that. We've seen it. We continue to see it. And so if you can't properly use, right, and if you can't properly use your freedom of speech to communicate true information, factual information, because you and your lies, you get to affect how the rest of us live, okay? You get to make and create laws that govern people's lives. And if you can't be honest about what it is, what you want, and what you stand for, then you need to shut your mouth.
I don't believe that since they don't want to give us a place at the table, that we have to actually function by their rules anymore. I also don't think that any of it works. I think they're all lying. There was another kid killed the other day. There's a kid killed, every black young man killed every single day. And to be honest with you, I don't want to talk anymore. And I think I'm tired of playing nice. I don't even know what we're doing. I think that we say, vote, do this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change. But I'll tell you one thing. If Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks she can go into people's restaurants and then go, oh my God, she's a real dum-dum, because personally, does she know what's going to be even in her food? She's a lot braver than I take her for, because I got to tell you something. I'd be as quick as she could say her name. She'd walk out of there with, because the reality is
to her for that too.
We need to stop talking. We need to put something forward now. We need no more talking with these people. None.
Okay. Let's move forward. So just last comment on this, Black Beauty says, right now, the NAACP has filed a lawsuit alleging that passing of that law DeSantis wants to enact is a violation of an individual's civil rights under the Constitution. And
then what? He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
No, he's got
it will take years for it. Then what? So what? Nobody respects the NAACP.
Nope. Or Black Lives Matter.
Sorry, they don't respect them.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the next thing. We'll just take a little quick break because it's been hot and heavy today. So subscribe. I just want to remind everybody, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube. You subscribe on YouTube. Also subscribe and also hit the notification button so you'll get notified when upcoming conversations, especially this one, are happening. Like it on Facebook or anywhere you're watching this, please like. So let's have a little break and let's get back into the fire. Tennessee becomes the first state in 2020 to restrict drag performances.
Don't you find it funny that all the people who want to do this have already got all these secret things coming out from when they did it? I'm tired of y'all. Leave people alone.
But this is what we have to really look at this, like how deep this goes. This goes so deep because it really has nothing to do with the drag performers.
No,
it didn't. It has to do with the trans young people. They were getting blocked with their allowing their civil rights. So I heard a report talking to a Christian man today saying, well, the LGBTQ gets to push their agenda on us. It's time we push ours. Okay, fair enough, I say. But then if this is going to be a tug of war, you better lay down, because we're gonna really push this. They want to use the term performance in public places to arrest anybody dressed as a woman walking down the street. They will call that a performance. And they want to put them in jail for 6 years. So all this comes down to, and it's not just about these libraries. These dumb don't even go to libraries. I have a friend. They're so stupid. They don't even read books. They're stupid. I think that on my shoe that I walk in on the street is smarter. They are stupid, and they want to play like they really care. They're evangelical, Luciferian frauds. They are not of God. And God is actually exposing them. These people are hypocrites and aren't even ashamed of it.
No. Well, I told you, I saw down in Florida, right? Like, this is a perfect example of this. So I'm driving down a street trying to get to an appointment. Damn, I wish I could have had time to stop. So I'm driving down the street, and there's these two big old signs on this property that says Biden, Biden, Biden. And in the middle it says, Jesus loves you.
You know, I may not be chosen to go to heaven or anywhere, but I'll tell you one thing. I just want to be there. I just want to please St. Peter. Let me stand there to see, even if I'm headed down, I want to stand there and watch everybody standing there thinking they're going in like the club that they think it is. Because I want to, you know, even in the Bible, it does say that it's not that crowded. It isn't. A lot of people don't know that they're not going. I think that this is, it is so interesting to see these hypocritical Christians. Mm-hmm. They have brought shame to Christianity. Mm-hmm. They have disgraced it. They allow the 700 Club and PTL and all that. Any moron knows that's a joke. They pray like it's magic. They use prayer like it's magic. You're not supposed to be praying like that. Nope. What do you honestly get that they have violated their Bibles up and down to the point where they have become stumbling blocks to anybody thinking of ever being a Christian. And you know what? They better read what God said he was going to do about that. And Jesus.
Oh, honey.
Because they actually have the wrath of God on them more than a non-believer. So let me tell you something. Oh, and what happened to their rapture? Because I'm thinking, wasn't y'all supposed to be gone by now?
Well, I mean, even if you look back, like
if heaven's full of people like that, I wouldn't want to be there anyway. Sorry.
But there's an awesome documentary out right now it tackles the Bible and how the fundamental Christians changed it. And it is called the 1946. It's a mistranslation of the shifted culture. That's when they really dug deep and changed the language in the Bible to go against gays and anything else that they didn't want to do. And
they just mind their own business.
You literally can see the before Bible and the after Bible. Okay, now I know there's always a debate about translation, but this goes deeper than that. So they have had this in their DNA from the very beginning. Yet those who are the ones who are the loudest squawkers are the ones who are doing it behind closed doors.
Yeah. It's never surprised me that the party that claims that Democrats are having these doing all kinds of pedophile things in pizza restaurants, that you find out, oh, this Republican person did this to this kid, or this Republican person, what is it, the guy who is being investigated now for sexually harassing one of George Santos's workers?
Matt Schlapp from the CPAC.
CPAC, right. And so
his wife was clearly in on these threesomes.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm not surprised this happened in Tennessee. I spent the last 4 years of the last 3 years of the 90s, first year 2000, in Nashville when I was in graduate school, and this is who they are. Yes. I remember I was down there at the time. There's this they have this really crazy looking statue on I-65 of Nathan Bedford Forrest, one of the founders of the Ku Klux Klan. And it is the creepiest, the scariest looking that you can see from the highway. It is so big, and just his eyes, like he's got one eye going this way, the other guy, he looks crazy. But they tried to get it down because it was distracting to a lot of people. Tennessee said no. It's on somebody's private property. It stays.
But
so here's the thing. But here's the thing. There are some HBCUs in Tennessee. I went to Fisk. When you leave the Fisk, TSU, Tennessee State University, and American Baptist College little corner over there on Jefferson, and you walk out, you are in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And it is what.
And
it's
the
pretty
same
desolate
thing
in those
tell people
areas.
when they traveled overseas to these beautiful resorts, you know, like, you're behind the wall, you've got the pool, you've got the food. Don't you leave them walls, because reality is going to hit you. Because
it's going to be like that everywhere, because it's like in Tennessee, you go from the city and out into the burbs or whatever, and fentanyl's ravaged these people. Like it's crazy what's going on, because they all want to be drug addicts. I don't know what's happening. It's just that's what's going on. And it doesn't matter where it's coming from. They're actually buying it. So that's the problem. There's a need for it, though. They're to each his own. There's no sense of community there either. I don't know what they're talking about. That's the thing about Donald Trump. They say he gave these people a sense of community, because to be honest with you, they were eating themselves, eating each other. But we, like I said, the real jail is this country.
You think you're free, but you're not.
But you're not.
Okay, let's just continue on here. Regina says, turning and okay, I think
we read that.
All right, so Zeus upon the world. Okay, and then we got Black. Okay, we're a little behind here. All right, we're back up to speed though. We're back up to speed. Let's go to our next conversation piece. Walgreens won't disturb abortion pills in states where the GOP AGs object.
No.
Cowards
is right. You can't pick and choose. You're not going
to. Because here's the thing. It's one person who objects. One person, the attorney general. So you're letting, even in states where it's legal, they're not selling it. But the state law says that you can. It's the attorney general who objects. And so you're bowing down to, there's about 13, 14 states where they're not doing this. So 13 people out of the many customers, the millions of customers that you have, didn't like the fact that you were doing something you've been doing for years. And now they're like, okay, well, we're just not gonna do it. I hope the other ones don't move like that.
And they probably will.
It just takes one person to say, okay, we're gonna do it, and then everybody falls in line like little soldiers.
Well, the other thing I wonder too is that if the head of Walmart who made this decision has some connection to these folks, because like you said, people did like paper in the rain. He did. It was quick.
Follow the money. The money trail never lies. We're gonna find out. I'm just mad, period, about everything.
I couldn't figure that out.
I mean, really, it's just really hard sometimes to sit back and see all this corruption that I'm sorry, I feel like we can't do anything about it. And that's the problem. If you give me a way to fix it, I'm going to do it. But people keep saying vote. Well, what for? I mean, yes, I'm still going to vote, but I'm sorry, I'm not seeing that my vote is really counting.
But I think we're missing what's really going on with this morning after pill is that a dozen Democratic attorney generals are suing the FDA in federal court in the Eastern District of Washington to remove all restrictions on mifepristone, which is the pill with another combination. It ends early pregnancies. The suit comes as a Trump-appointed Texas federal judge is expected to soon decide on whether the pill should be pulled from the market. This impacts everybody in the United States who had that. It's not just the attorney generals who don't want it. You know what I'm saying? Like Kansas, what happened there where Walgreens refused to distribute it. The bigger thing that's happening is that these moves that are happening legally are really, it's another way to gut abortions, early access to it. And that will not just affect the red states, it will impact the blue ones as well. So this is what's really crazy to me is, do we have any thinkers? We've always said these people are really ahead of us in their thinking. Then our Democrats are not able to keep up with the moves that they're making in these courts. There is a plan. And I am so that they can't see it. The only attorney that I've actually been seeing making some moves was Daniel What's-His-Face, who became a congressman. And he's so smart, Daniel Goldman. But the rest of them are asleep at the wheel. I mean, they're all attorneys in Congress, and Raskin. They see, but they can't do it alone. Our Senate guys, what are they doing? Asleep? Because I'm really like, you guys don't see that they were going to do this? Just sit down and do a brainstorming session of like, how would I destroy America? Or how would I destroy more Roe v. Wade? They don't do it. Let's play a game, y'all. Let's just see what we would do. Let's be our most evil selves, because that's why they can never defend. It's like the art of war they do not know. How are you defending or protecting your constituents? They're not. And so for me, I don't have a dog in the race of hanging on to a senator. I'm open to somebody else coming along, not an establishment person. I want somebody rough and ready, and who is out. I don't need this fancy, blue, 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 blue. No, because we're at war. We are at war.
Look, Trump just said not too long ago, within the last 24 hours, that he's planning on giving bonuses for babies.
Right.
Okay, these people want their white babies. They don't give a shit about ours.
No.
They know that they're the minority, so therefore they need to get their numbers up.
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing too. The forced birth issue also will get rid of us, because Black women have the highest rate of maternal mortality of any other group. So if they have to keep pregnancies like that, then they're going to die. But you know what? This is masking an even larger issue. They don't want to just get rid of the abortion pill. And let's be clear that if they get rid of the abortion pill and say you can't sell it, that also means you can't get the morning after pill, because they have these same components, right? One is just stronger than the other. But beyond that, if this happens, this is the door that opens up for them to be able to ban the abortion pill.
Yeah.
What we really should be concerned about is, instead of trying to do all this stuff to stop women from, not having babies, somebody needs to suggest that they do a male birth control pill, and then we might not have this problem.
They won't.
But they won't do that. They won't do that.
Well, as it is, actually, sperm counts have declined in such a way that most men can't even give you a decent baby these days without so much trying and angling. You got to go and do it IVF. Seriously, men's declining sperm base for whatever reason in America, what they're doing, I don't even know. But couple that with the fact that a woman in America dies every 2 minutes from mortality, maternal mortality. You got to sit, and it's risen to that level for the past 20 years in this country. So that's quite a high number when you really look at it. There was a study that came out 10 days ago on that. So I don't know. I don't know what the benefit of this thing, what they got going on here, but most people now are having their babies at embryo clinics if they can. And pretty soon women will just be carrying babies for rich women who don't want to carry a baby in their own polluted wombs. We've seen that now. A bunch of women who live their lives and they don't want to carry it. Kim Kardashian, I don't want to mess with my body. I couldn't do it. It was like, we're wearing like all these weird shoes, and you had like edema in your feet. It's like, are you kidding me? Most women would be like, I've got this money, I've got a family, I can brace my babies, and that all we do is see the of something. Once they're going to everything.
Aisha, you need to take a break, so you can jump off for a second, and she needs to take a nature break. So we'll come back in a moment, and we'll just catch up on things. This has been a low energy show. See what you've done, LaLa?
I don't know what's up with me.
It's a low energy show, so let's just see what else is going on here.
Take away the pill means rape victims must carry to term. It's true. You know, it's very, very sad what's going on in this country.
But
every
there's
day.
an agenda. And it's so funny because they think that we don't see it. But the problem is nothing's being done.
But
so
what it is, but this is my point with the crazy Christians. They are so crazy and weird that they are manifesting an artificial Armageddon. This is what I'm saying. That's their agenda. They have no reason to want to live. They're no different than those who put on those black sneakers, heavens, whatever, and thought they were going to like go and meet, you know, in on an alien ship. They're the same. It's the same mentality of like,
you know, what
if
Christian
Jesus doesn't come soon, they're going to do something, and this is what they're doing. They're so, you know, the Bible even tells them, you know, you don't need to know the time or the day or whatever, but that's not good enough for them.
No,
they're frustrated. Right. So they're bringing it about.
Because they got to control everything. But see how that works?
Yeah.
They have to control everything. So because they don't know, they have to make something up to make it look like they have the insider information.
And they're so twisted. They've got all their prophecies wrong. So-and-so is the Antichrist. This is the such and such. And let's factor in the fact that there's like 75 different factions of Christianity in America, and none of them all believe the same. Not everybody believes in the Trinity and all of that. And then they just found out the other day that the one who was shedding all that shade on Biden and paying for all these Hunter Biden things and all of that, that wasn't the crazy Christians. This was the Opus Dei Malta Christians from the Catholic Church. Oh, yeah. Because what's his face Leonard is the one who picks all our judges. So you have the crazy kooky Catholics who beat themselves at the same time and try to pray for, oh my God, forgive me. That Opus Dei stuff. That's real.
All right. So Aisha is back, I believe. There she is. Welcome back.
Yeah. We just had a little.
Remember that woman was killed in Malta, the journalist.
Yes.
There's a reason. It's Catholic, Vatican, y'all. And they're in our business here. Leonard Leo is the one that people talk about who is appointing our judges. This is for real. There's no conspiracy or as much as it is, it's the same sect of people. It's always been the church, the Illuminati. It's always been a church.
Okay. Let's move on. Black Beauty say, Jill, per CNN, sperm counts of men worldwide are and have been on decline.
There ain't nothing there. It's like pretty soon dust is just going to poof out of these men's dicks.
But you know, one thing that we go through this thing where it's like, oh, you know, this is half the population, and no, you know what? Men actually are not half the population. They're 49%. We have more women in this country than we do men, and so we have a minority gender in this country making decisions about the majority gender in this country. The same way they're doing with people of color, because by 2040. They will be the minority. So that's why they're rushing to put all these laws through now.
I don't know. They're pretty bent on getting rid of the Black community. So they're making up for lost time. They're going after so many young black men here it's just every day. I read about somebody every day.
Yeah.
This one beautiful child the other day, Noah, or I don't know. It's just like, it's soul stripping to wake up in this place every day. It destroys my spirit. I just can't. And I'm too much of an empath. And I think of the poor families. I don't care if they don't have much to live in. They're not, you know, that's somebody's child. It's just, it's soul destroying, this place. And you can see it in the people's eyes.
All right, let's continue on. Let's go to another conversation topic. We've got here CPAC 2023 is low energy.
I'm sorry. I watched.
Nikki Haley, right?
Yes, you know, one of the people that I cannot stand on this show. Nimrata got her little 50 people.
She did. I know, and they couldn't even clap together. I don't know. Some were looking at their gum in their purse at the time that it was going on. It was.
I guess, Nikki, all those people that didn't come were woke.
Yeah, right. Thank
you know,
you.
Miss anti-woke, who continuously forgets that the reason she had access to the legislature in South Carolina to become a House representative and then governor, and even to vote herself, is because of all the Black people who suffered down there and struggled down there, to make sure that everyone had this access. But then she turns around and uses this word, which I have an article that I'm writing right now about, say it loud, I'm woke and I'm proud, because they're using this as a racial, a sexist, a transphobic, homophobic slur. It has become a slur.
Racist too. Racist.
Like I said, racist. That was the first thing I said. Yeah, that was the first thing I said. Because you know what? Because you know what? Here's the thing. That was never the original meaning.
No.
Ever. They came up with a meaning. Attributed it to this word. They made it up, attributed it to this word, and then went and just changed it. But here's the other thing. This is why I say we have to do more gatekeeping of our culture, because once it started going mainstream when we were saying it, white liberals caught onto it.
And they destroy everything.
Change the meaning, and then they bring it to the larger population, which allowed the meaning of it to be spun. Here's how you know this, because I remember when I was 4 years old in 1979. That's the first time I started paying attention. My father and his friends, every time they greeted each other, it was like, "What's up, blood?" And when they left, "Stay woke." It was a message to be careful, look out for yourself, protect yourself, keep your eyes open. Mostly because as Black people, we have to. That phrase has been protecting us for years, for decades, and then they go and they ruin it. And
to be honest, the ones that actually end up tainting this stuff and then it flips over into the alt-right community is the progressives are the ones when they don't get their way because they were exposed and brought into the fold for a little bit. Then they go back out and then they're so woke. And that's how it happens. It's actually the traitorous behavior of the progressives and the independents the
Bernie Bros.
Yeah, who are always, and they do a lot of damage to our moving forward because they want their way. And it's like Marianne Williamson is running for president again, and everyone's like, she's going to be stealing votes. And it's just like, at this point,
she wants to lose again. That's why she's a glutton for punishment.
But I'm also like, to be honest with you, I'd vote for her in a second. I think she's awesome. I love her. I love what she says, but I just don't think that there's enough people in this country that are good enough for a candidate like her. We're not good enough for her. This country has a karmic story and history that it has to play out. The karma's so bad here, it can't even generate good karma anymore. Someone like Marianne Williamson is too good. And also the people aren't that intelligent or loving or spiritual or anything. And neither are their kids. Pretty greedy, ugly country.
You know how I feel about this whole woke, anti-woke thing is that it's these are words I live by on certain things. They can have it. It's theirs now.
Yeah, because they've ruined it. They've bastardized it.
Like they did
everything else. They can't make anything up on their own.
Like they do and like they do
who let the dogs out in the Cabbage Patch. I still can't get over those two things. How did we let them take that dance and turn it into something that looks like churning butter?
But it is. They've taken woke the same way, and that's what they do. I don't even know. That is exactly what it is when they try to, as with all of our slang, any of our jargon, And it's really
And when they
tiresome.
do it, there's now.
Or literature or anything or hairstyles or nothing because they don't know how to make their own. They know
And
how
then
to
you
steal
have
it, take it, burn it.
DeSantis saying that woke and using woke like it's the signal of they already have an image of who you have woke people who moved into your neighborhood. And we know what they're saying. It's very clear. We know who they are.
I mean, that would be the three of us. It's like,
Yeah,
you know
totally.
what?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, at this point, I feel like we need to just reclaim it and tell them that they can't say it, like they can't say certain other words.
And we should do that, actually. That's not a bad
And then,
idea. We
you know what?
should stop using words you all don't know.
But they'll have a fit. You know why? Because they're not used to anyone telling them no.
Well, they can go and talk to their Lady Boots DeSantis about what to. You know what?
He looks like the green M&M.
Wait, Sticky Boots. What was it? Kinky Boots. That's who he is. Did you guys see Kinky Boots?
Yes.
Yeah.
My sisters and I had a conversation about him in these boots on Thursday night, and it was just between the boots and the way that he talks, it's like
he reminds me of Foghorn Leghorn.
He just makes me sick to my stomach. He makes me want to throw up.
He does. He's really an awful creature. You know,
his voice matches those boots, actually.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Oh, what do you have to say about CPAC? I guess are the Republicans in trouble?
It's garbage. No, they'll find their scum. They'll go.
Let's be clear. The reason that they had the list of people who didn't show up, the reason that those people didn't show up is because they all have higher political aspirations. Yep. And Matt Schlapp tarnished the image because they don't want to be called out in a debate about, well, you went to CPAC that is led by a CEO who is accused of what is it, watching child porn or something like that?
Yeah, they're awful.
Like I said, everything that somebody tries to fight for with these people.
But it doesn't bother Republicans. It doesn't bother them. They pretend and say that it is if they think it's a Democrat. But it doesn't bother them because they're all doing it. All these dastardly things they're accusing people of, it's actually them. Because when we do find out that they are doing it, then they're like, well, it's not really that bad. It's like, oh, you guys are some scummy women. You know,
especially the ones who are anti-LGBTQ. Because within weeks or months, you find out that they actually are.
Yeah. But our country really messed up when they didn't prosecute Matt Gaetz, Three Toes. You know, we got some problems here, you know, and I honestly wake up every day and think we're in a joke world. Like, is this real? Like, I had to watch Ted Cruz dress down Merrick Garland this week. Yeah. And he looked like a weak piece of sitting there. Like, yo, I don't like Ted Cruz, but he ate Merrick Garland for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Sure.
You know?
Merrick Garland has yet to find out who the Republican, whoever planted the bombs at the Republican at the Republican headquarters and the Democratic headquarters on January 6th, right? Because he knows that person is in Congress.
But girl, he looked like he couldn't even find a tomato in the salad. You know what I'm saying? Like he was, but that's not who you want in this position. And to be honest with you, it makes me so angry because that's when I realized Joe Biden was so clueless. You didn't realize the temperature that you were walking into, that you appointed this daft, goofy, ridiculous excuse for an AG? Come on.
But remember where that came from. Remember where that came from, Jill. All those groups of liberal people that we'd said before, the Bernie Bros, all these people are like, well, I'm not going to give my vote unless you put him, because he should have been on the Supreme Court.
Yeah. It's all playback. Everything.
No, we're seeing now that we're seeing now he wasn't meant for the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm. That AG needed to be a woman or somebody who was just qualified would have helped, not a scared, goofy part of the establishment. He really wasn't supposed to be on the Supreme Court either. God, I can understand why they didn't want him now, to be honest with you.
All right.
What an ineffective person.
Let's finish off the conversation today with South Carolina lawyer Alex Murdaugh sentenced to life in prison for killing his wife and son. How this story became like a national story is interesting.
Well, you know, I'm not even clear about it. I mean, like I said, that family is very prominent in South Carolina, and so is the family of the judge. So, you know, when I was watching about it last week, that's when I realized that I actually, you know, knew who the judge was. I knew his name.
Anyone have to say anything about that trial? Because it was a like I said, just for it to
I didn't watch it.
National, all of a sudden I go, okay.
I didn't watch it, but I did see the last guy who, the judge, who was so graceful and wonderful, and I'd heard the stories about it. But
I told you, when I read that thing about his bio, I realized that I knew his son.
Right. But I think that for me, I just thought the story was just too much that I can't take on everything and watch everything. But Justice got it right. But the fact is, you know, is he really going to go to a real prison? I mean, what's he going to be doing? He was powerful. So what is he going to be able to sit, you know, and do? I don't know. And it's really crazy. We often say these things like, ooh, they're going to get him in jail. And here's the fact. Our jails should actually be shouldn't the punishment, the sentences, that needs to be, you know, so we create a situation where people are in the jails taking care of other people for the failures that our government doesn't take care of. Why would we want people who we're trying to rehabilitate some in with lifers? First of all, like that's actually a tricky one for me. And also, I don't know, is he going to be sitting in a federal, somehow move this over into the federal thing, which is what the other nut job who killed George Floyd tried to do, and a lot of the other police officers, to be in a federal. No, the ones who killed Ahmaud Arbery, they ended up being able to go to a federal prison as opposed to a regular prison. So, I mean,
but the difference here between that case and this case is that the reason that they opted for the federal, they had the choice, was because they were also given federal charges. There was also a federal.
I get it, but see, I sometimes think that's manipulative, because the DAs could then go, I'll stay off of this. They can always wait till after the trial to try them federally if it doesn't get where they go. I always felt like with Ahmaud Arbery that they all came out and said what they were going to do, and here are all their charges. Why didn't the feds just sit back and wait, watch the trial, and if they got off, then they could have tried him federally, because then they get to go to nicer jails. Why do we want that?
The difference is also too that they were charged with a civil rights violation. It was a hate crime.
Yeah, but they didn't. I'm just saying they didn't need it. Why would you give them the better jail?
Because you don't want to set the precedent of not doing and enforcing hate crime statutes.
But why are federal jails even better is the bigger question.
Yeah, but Alex Murdaugh's not going to a federal jail. I know the jail he's going to in that county, in that region, it's nothing nice. And also, I mean, they don't really have federal prison.
Anyway, his life and what happened to it wasn't worth my time to watch it and take up. I figured, you know, he was scum. They talked about this for years. It took a long time for him to finally, 2 or 3 years this happened. This is our problem. And I'm sorry, I don't have the bandwidth.
This happened in 2021, but he had done some other things beforehand.
Yeah,
he was being investigated on, like,
because
stealing money.
Dateline did a whole thing on it.
Yeah,
right.
I watched that last night. Yeah.
Well, here's my thing. It all boils down to this. He wronged somebody, and somebody got the chance to get back at him. That's exactly what it is. Follow the money.
Yeah.
Because guess what? I don't think in the scheme of things, his wife or his son was the real reason that he's ended up going to prison. If they wanted to get him off, they would have got him off. We've seen it too many times in our history. We've seen it recently. We see it all the time. So the question is, follow the money. What did they really get him for, and why is he being punished for something that he did? He probably stole somebody's money. He shouldn't have touched it.
He's the new fall guy, the Bernie Madoff of this year.
But it's when I was listening to Judge Newman's, when he was giving handing the sentencing down and talking, giving his piece, he said something that just like, I was like, yeah, why did that happen? Was when he said, you came up with so many excuses, and then you got on here on the on the stand and lied. He said, if this is how you represented your clients, you wouldn't have represented your clients the way you represented yourself. You would have never won a case. And it's true.
Well, what cracked me up is they took his family's pictures out of the courtroom. They didn't even want the pictures of his family up during his trial because they were just like, no, we can't do that. Even at this level, we got to take them pictures down, which tells you there's a lot of
true. The prosecutor was funny too because he said, so you want us to believe that you told the police one story and you couldn't remember anything, but now here on the stand today, you are telling us the truth, what really happened, and you remember every detail, except when I ask you a question, then you don't remember.
Well, it was funny. I watched it on Dateline last night. Craig Melvin was like recap of the whole story, and I judged the end at the sentencing. The judge said, "When are you telling the truth?"
Right.
He basically said, "You're always lying. When are you telling the truth?" It was a really interesting. The last comments of the judge made were right on target. In my opinion, it was he really
tried to convince us he was taking 60 OxyContin at a time. You're not dead yet.
So true.
It was that judge. There's a replacement for Mayor Garland. There you go, Jill.
He's retiring. He's retiring. He's retiring. This is his last case.
Well, hopefully it was going to give some confidence.
Well, the part of me that was sad was when he was telling him, but you killed your son, and he's talking about this a month and a half after his own son died, and the way you can hear it in his voice, it's like, how can you even do that to your child? And it was like, he gave him about that.
Yeah.
And it was well deserved.
Yeah, the judge. I love that judge. We need more judges like him. We definitely.
Well, good luck because we have.
Wasn't that a topic tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tonight is done. So we is done, family. And again, LaLa, what did you do to cause all this ruckus tonight?
I like to come in and throw a wrench in the cog.
All right then. Well, as always, ladies, want to thank you for your time as always. And before we let you escape, let's get your contact information. First up, we have LaLa.
You can find me on all social media under Realty Goddess.
All right. Easy peasy. Next up,
Jill Jones Music on Instagram and Jill D. Jones on Twitter.
All right. And next up,
you can find me at Aisha Staggers on Twitter. I'll be dropping some more knowledge tomorrow and taking my piece for the rest of the week until the next weekend.
I'll believe it when I see it. All right. Right. And myself, you can get hold of me, website, thedrviveshow.com, email dr@thedrviveshow.com, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show, Twitter at drviveshow, and Instagram at the DRVIBESHOW. You can catch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and also the website, the drvibeshow.com. As always, I want to thank everyone who watched this live or on the replay. It's appreciated and not taken for granted. As always, too, if you are up to it, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube. If you do it on YouTube, subscribe and hit the notification button. Like on Facebook or wherever you're watching this, please support. It's appreciated, not taken for granted. As always, we like to say, I have one other quick thing. There we go. If you want to promote your business or service on the show, please contact me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. We close out with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourself grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. We'll catch you soon. Stay safe and give yourself grace. Peace.